Do you know why this position is a draw? And I want you to pause the video and think for yourself a little bit. Okay, let's have a look at this position. We have bishop against rook, and usually these positions are a draw, but the party that has the bishop has to know how to draw it. And this position is already very advanced because the king and the rook forced the black king and the black bishop into a corner. But this just looks good, and that doesn't have to concern us because in the end, there is no way that white can make any progress because the bishop always blocks everything either on g8 or on h7, and there's no way that white can make any progress. So I can show you, for example, here, if white plays rook c7, we just move our bishop along this diagonal g8, a2. So rook b7, let's say, the bishop goes back to g8, and now white tries to attack black from the other side. He plays rook b2, but now we give some checks first. Bishop h7 check, king f7, bishop g8 check, king f8, and now we go back with the bishop to h7. Now white tries rook g2, and here we move along the diagonal h7, b1. And every check that white tries, we block just with the bishop. And if he wants to force a Zugzwang, he can't do that because there is no way black can make a move, right? So after rook h1, it's a draw because bishop is pinned. He can't move, and the king can't also move since all these squares are protected by the white king. So this position is a draw. There's no way that white can make any progress. And for example, here in the initial position, white could have played rook a8 immediately and opt for the draw because there is no way that he can make progress. And now let's have a look at a different position. What do you think about this position here? Is it a draw or is it one for white? Again, I want you to pause the video and think for yourself a little bit. Okay, again, we have rook against bishop. But this time, the bishop is not a light squared bishop, it's a dark squared bishop. And here, white can actually win this position. And this is because he can force, he can force black into Zugzwang, or he can waste a move. And this allows him to win this position. So let's have a look. Here we play rook d7. Also here in this position, we kind of create checkmate threats as in the other position too. And the bishop, of course, wants to prevent that. So here we play bishop b6, taking control over d8. Now we renew that threat. Our threat now is rook b8. And now the bishop goes to c5. So he can block on f8 after the check is given on b8. So rook b8, bishop f8, f8. And here we can put black into Zugzwang by wasting a move or by wasting time. And we can play rook a8. And here black has to move into the corner. And now we can capture the bishop on f8 with checkmate. And this is the only way how you can win rook against bishop. So to resume this, if you have rook against bishop and you have you're playing the bishop part, the rule is that your king has to go into a corner that your bishop can't reach. So for example, here, if we go back to the other position, since you got a light squared bishop, you have to put your king on a dark square, on a dark corner. And if you have a dark squared bishop, you have to put your king in the light squared corner. And if you follow that, it's always a draw. There's no way that your opponent can make any progress. And I hope you learned a lot from this video, and I see you in the next one.